I'm Liz from Pinhole Quilting, and I just thought I'd show you some of the things that I'm doing on some personal projects. So this is some placemats. I've got a layer of backing fabric, layer of silvered material, a layer of fairly dense wadding, and then what will be a placemat for a friend of mine. And I'm making an extra set so that if anybody messes up and we can't get them clean, she's got another set. So what I'm going to do is on my Pro-Stitcher, I've found a really nice design called Just Circles, and I don't want to skew it or change it in any way, because other than the size of it to fit within here, because if I do, then the circles that are in it, I want to mirror the circles on my dotty fabric. And as soon as I start skewing or adjusting, and some of the resizing might by doing stretches and things like that. So what I'm going to do is define the area first, and then I'm going to create multiples that will overlay, then I will crop away the bit I don't need. So there'll be no stretching or fitting or skewing to get this to work. On the previous row that I did do stretching, and it was fine, but they're not circles. So I am in pursuit of the perfect circle on this attempt. So I'm going to set up my area first of all. So I'm going to go to the area tab. I'm going to do my 2 corner. I'm going to do this whole section because this is the point about doing something like placemats, table mats, coasters, etc., is that we can do a whole section at a time. So I'm just going to move this so that you can see. So I've defined my whole area, top left, bottom right. I can do it all in one pass. So on my screen now, I've got a pink rectangle. And that pink rectangle represents my area. The actual design, which I can move over on top of the pink rectangle, is just bigger. The original design that was provided with the Pro-Stitcher is perfect, nearly perfect, because I've got to join it. So I'm going to go into the repeat tab, and I'm going to create some repeats. I need to create 3 repeats. I need to join those, make sure there's a square that joins them on this current version, and it exceeds what I need. So I'm just going to move it around until I've got it where I want it to go. And then I'm going to baseline it. And then I'm going to go into modify, crop, and I'm going to remove the outside. So that's now left me with just the size I want at the scale that it originally was at, and I'm going to also hit edges. What edges does is it sort of sews up any of the around the edges of it where there's a start and stop. So now I'm left with a single pass. It starts here, it ends the other end, and that all looks great. But I'm going to baseline it again, and I'm also going to file, save, workspace, so that should I ever so desire to do this whole thing again, I can just bring it up. Workspace, circles, save. Okay, if I have a crash, power cut, whatever might be thrown at me, I'm prepared. So let's get going. Pro-Stitcher. Quilt, stitch, start end, pull up on, pull up auto, and I'm going to run and just see whether I've left it in anything that causes a problem. So I have stitches per inch. When I was going around the edges, I'd increased my stitches so that they were wider apart, and I wanted actually as 10 stitches per inch. I don't really want tiny, tiny stitches, so I'm going to do 3 tie-offs at the beginning, 55%, 10 stitches per inch, auto jump of 0.1 inches, so it will always pretty much stop. Okay. Right, pull up. Easier said than done. It's just on the corner of the wadding. I couldn't find it. I'm going to hold this actually because it's quite close to the edge. So this is all stitching out nicely at the moment, but I'm just obviously keeping an eye on it because I've got bits where it's going on and off the quilt. One of the things to note is I'm using the glide foot. That makes it a lot easier. I really wouldn't want to risk it with the standard foot. That could be very, very tricky. But I'm pretty happy about how it's stitching out. That all looks nice. And I'm happier with the size and scale of the circles. The fact that they are circular is much, much better. So that's something to remember. If ever you've got something where it really is circles, although skews and fits and stretches are an advantage in the way that we set them up on Pro-Stitcher, actually sometimes it can be a bit of a disadvantage when you want something to stay as a perfect circle. So the way to do it is make it bigger or multiply it up using repeats, and then crop away what you don't need instead. And notice also that I've got it very close to that back rail. So when it stitches out, I'm also mindful of the fact if I had a bigger quilt on the back rail, if there was a bigger amount of fabric wrapped around that, I would possibly also have to be here just pushing it in. What I don't want to have is the back rail causing a problem and causing the machine to become out of kilter and disconnect from the carriage. So there we go, I'm just going to let that stitch out and I'll see if I can speed this second section up.